Dear students, today we are going to start chapter 6 O level biology 5090, and topic is plant nutrition, and we are going to do the part 1 today. And first of all, we will discuss what is photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is light, and synthesis means preparation or manufacture. So it is a process which takes place only in green plants. And during this process or process of photosynthesis, the green plants use the light energy, and which is captured by the chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a green pigment which is present only in green parts of the plants. And then carbon dioxide and water react together to give rise oxygen and energy rich organic compounds, which are carbohydrates. So photosynthesis is a process which takes place in green parts of the plant in the presence of sunlight. Carbon dioxide and water are changed into carbohydrates and oxygen. In the next slide, we will see all those which are necessary, that is sunlight is capturing by the chlorophyll in the green leaves. Carbon dioxide is from the air. Water is absorbed from the soil. And then as a result, these are the two products which are formed during this process of photosynthesis: sugar or carbohydrates and oxygen. And next slide, we will also discuss about these all which are used in the process of photosynthesis. And number one, water, which is absorbed by the process of osmosis. As you know, the osmosis, when water moves from its higher water potential towards the lower water potential, so water enters through root hair cells into the root cells, and then oxygen is entered through stomata by the process of diffusion into the green leaves, where the process of photosynthesis takes place. And sunlight, it will be captured by chlorophyll, and then, you know, there will be the formation of sugars and oxygen. Extra glucose will goes into the air. So in this way, the whole process of photosynthesis takes place. Now, in the next slide, I will discuss the different stages which takes place when the process of photosynthesis taking place. Two major stages are light dependent stage, which takes place only in the sunlight. So this reaction is called as light reaction. And light independent stage, which takes place without light. So this is called as dark reaction. And in the next slide, you will see, we will discuss one by one these two stages of photosynthesis. And the first stage, which is called as light dependent stage. Light dependent. And during this stage, you know, light is required because light dependent stage or light reaction, which takes place only in the light, because during this the chlorophyll captures the sunlight. Sunlight is very necessary in this stage. So this sunlight, which is captured by the chlorophyll, will be converted into chemical energy. So this chemical energy will use to break down the water molecules into oxygen and hydrogen. And this process is called as photolysis because this breakdown takes place in the presence of light. So this chemical energy will break down water molecules into oxygen and hydrogen, and this process is called as photolysis. So it is all about the light dependent stage. The next stage, which can take place in dark, it is called as light independent stage. Light independent stage, or it is also called as dark reaction. So light is not required, definitely. Hydrogen produced in the light reaction as a result of photolysis, in the previous slide we had discussed, will react with carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide is reduced to form carbohydrates. It means carbon dioxide and hydrogen, they will form carbohydrates or glucose. And all all metabolic reactions require enzymes. So enzymes are also required for all these processes. So in this way, we are able to write the equation for photosynthesis. And here you can see 6 carbon dioxide will react with 6 water molecules, and there will be 1 molecule of glucose and 6 molecules of oxygen. It means in the presence of sunlight, in green parts of the plants, chlorophyll is there, 6 molecules of carbon dioxide will react with 6 molecules of water to give rise 1 molecule of glucose with 6 molecules of oxygen. So students, keep in mind always when you are going to write an equation for any reaction, you have to write a balanced equation. So I have written 6 carbon dioxide will react with 6 water molecules to give rise 1 glucose molecule, and 6 molecules of oxygen are produced during this process of photosynthesis. Now, next, you can see in next slide, there I have written this word equation. Sometimes they ask about word equation. Simple, you have to write the carbon dioxide plus water, glucose, and oxygen, light energy in chlorophyll. It is must to write because without this process, photosynthesis cannot take place. You all these things you must be right when you are going to any type of equation, whether it is balanced equation or whether it is word equation. Next, I would like to discuss about the glucose, which is manufactured during the process of photosynthesis. What are the uses of that glucose molecule, or what is the fate of that glucose which is manufactured during the process of photosynthesis? And students, the first use of that glucose molecule is to provide energy for respiration. So energy, and secondly, energy used to turn sugar nitrates and other nutrients into amino acids. And you turn sugars, C, H, O. These are the three elements which make up the sugar. And when nitrate ions are added into them in the form of nitrogen, then what will happen? There will be the formation of amino acids. So amino is for the formation of amino acids. The nitrate ions are required by the plant. So nitrate ions are, you can say, absorbed from the soil by the process of active transport. To make cellulose cell wall, cellulose will be manufactured from these glucose molecules which are manufactured during the process of photosynthesis. Many glucose molecules will join together to make one long chain of cellulose fibers. And the next is energy stored as starch. Extra glucose will be stored in the form of starch. And the next is energy stored as sucrose. You know, the fruits are sweet in taste. So the sweetness is because of that sucrose, which is manufactured when the glucose molecules join together. Then to make fats and oils, energy stored in the seeds. You know, seeds have fats and oils in them, and that, you know, the carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen are the three elements which are also present in fats and oils. But the ratio of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen is different as it is present in carbohydrates. So that is the reason they are fats. They have less concentration of oxygen as comparison to carbohydrates. So next is raw material, which is used for growth, repair, and replacement of damaged plants, the damaged parts. So in this way, the glucose is used by many ways to perform different activities in the plants. In the next slide, we will discuss the different conditions which are necessary or essential for the process of photosynthesis. First of all, the sunlight. You know, photolysis takes place. During photolysis, when water will break down, it will provide the hydrogen to the carbon dioxide to make carbohydrates. So sunlight is necessary for this process of photosynthesis, which is captured by the chlorophyll. Suitable temperature, you know, the photosynthesis depends on the reactions of enzymes in the chloroplast. Enzymes reactions are faster at a suitable temperature. Very low temperature and very high temperature. Both are very harmful for the plant. So the suitable temperature is between 35 degrees centigrade to 40 degrees centigrade, which is considered as optimum temperature for enzyme reaction. So, or enzyme reaction or enzyme activity. So, very low temperature and very high temperature should not be there for this process of photosynthesis, because at high temperature the stomatas will be closed. The chlorophyll will capture the sunlight for the process. So if chlorophyll is not there, there will be no photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide and water, which are the main components to manufacture the carbohydrates, and oxygen. So in this way, I would like to say all these are the conditions which are necessary or which are essential for this process of photosynthesis. Now, in the next, we are going to discuss about the process of destarching. The process of destarching means that when we are going to conduct some investigations in the lab, so before going in details or before conducting those investigations, we have to de-starch the plants. And how do we de-starch the plants? For this purpose, we can adopt different methods. And one method is this: then we can keep a potted plant at a place where there is no sunlight for about 72 hours. For a safe side, you can wrap the plant with a black paper or aluminum foil. And after 72 hours, you can use it for the investigations. But here, keep in mind, you students, that during this 72 hours, the plant will use the already stored starch in it because it has to be alive. So to live alive, it will use the whole starch which was already manufactured into it. So after this, after 72 hours, it will be free of that starch. So we will say that no, the plant is has been destarched. So in the next slide, we are going to check whether the plant is destarched, or after destarching, we will keep that plant, potted plant, into sunlight for about 4 to 6 hours. Then we will do a test for starch, whether during these 4 to 6 hours the plant has manufactured the starch into them or not, because already it was de-starched plant. So during destarching, it has used the all starch which was already present into it. So after 4 to 6 hours, it will be able to manufacture some salt into some starch into it. So we will go for a starch test. And for this purpose, first of all, we will detach a leaf from the plant and we will dip it into a boiling water. So in this way, all chemical reactions will be stopped when we will dip it into a boiling water. You know, in boiling water, all enzymes will be denatured and there will be no reaction inside the leaf. Secondly, after boiling, 3 to 4 minutes are enough for it. After boiling in water, we will dip this into a boiling ethanol. Keep in mind, when we are using this ethanol, there should be a use of water bath, otherwise it can catch fire. So we will dip the leaf into it, which will decolorize the leaf, and the color will be ethanol and leaf will be colorless. And then you can see that the leaf will become hard and brittle by keeping it about 3 to 4 minutes into the ethanol. It will become hard and brittle, so we will dip it for about a while into the hot water to make it soft. To make it soft. So after that, we will apply iodine test over it. We will use the iodine. We will drop the iodine on the leaf if its color is changed from yellowish brown, yellowish brown to blue black. Then starch is present, which was manufactured during these 4 to 5 hours or 4 to 6 hours. So it means if it is not changed, it means there was no formation of carbohydrates or starch during these hours because there was no starch in the plant before keeping it into the sunlight for 5 to 6 hours. So in this way, we can check whether the plant has starch into it or not. It is all about the part one. Thank you so much. And the other part of the chapter we will discuss in the part two. Thank you.